Hey everybody, how you doing? IntoWeapons back again with you. Got the Century Arms International PSL-54c out to the range today. Finally got a chance to clean it up from all the cosmoline that was on it. Took me a good 4 or 5 hours. It was pretty caked on the inside, so got that all done. We're out at the range today. We're just going to do some function testing and see what kind of groups we can get. Not going to put a whole lot of time into trying to get some groups, so just really again out here to do more of a function test. Got one of the other PSL mags that I didn't get with the rifle. This is one of the ones I've already had in stock. The ones I got with the rifle were 4 of them, and they were all covered in cosmoline. Just haven't gotten to cleaning those up yet. We're going to use a 7.62x54R 148 grain full metal jacket made in Russia, non-corrosive stuff. I also brought out the original scope that came with it. My FPK Dragunov has the same exact scope, and I just not a big fan of it. It's really sits to the left of the bore axis. I think that's what it's called. And just not a huge fan of them, so I did bring out the UTG rifle scope that I had off my Weber rifle. Just going to throw that on there and see if we can get maybe some groups out of it a little bit easier than I can get out of this scope. So I also have out a new toy that was sent to me by armsvault.com. I'll go ahead and link his channel down there below. This is from CTK Precision. It's a nice little shooting rest here, and works pretty well. I've had it out with the Weber once already with a buddy, and really impressed with it. I'll end up doing a review of that sometime here in the near future, guys. Let's go ahead and put some lead down range. We got a target set way up down there at 100 yards. You can kind of see it's the white one right there in the middle. And probably should have started at 50 yards, but what the heck, we'll go ahead and see what we can do at 100 first off. Alright, let's do it. Alright, we got the first 3 shots here. You can see the bolt hold open on the last round there. I've noticed that some magazines it works and some magazines it does not. The ones that does work, it seems like it works pretty consistently, so some of the tabs along here in the back I think don't stick out far enough or are not formed correctly to work that safe bolt hold open last feature. So, but otherwise you can see you can go ahead and release it once the magazine's out, so kind of a neat feature. Well guys, as expected, this scope didn't even put me on paper. It's really far off. I can kind of line up my iron sights with the target and look down the scope, and she's way off. So I'm not really going to screw around with it. Like I said, I really don't like these scopes that much. They're kind of a pain in the ass. They're not American, so it's not easy to use. I've heard a lot of people having troubles trying to zero them in. I just don't really want to put myself through the frustration level of it today. So what I'm actually going to do is throw on my Weber rifle scope and see what I can get out of that. At least that's pointing at the target in the general the right spot. It doesn't clamp on here. The Midwest Industries rail doesn't seem to work very well with the tightness that I have it for this rail compared to my Weber rail. So I didn't really want to make any adjustments. It is tight on there. Just wasn't able to fully seat it all the way forward like I'd really like it to be, but it is what it is. So we'll go ahead and do a few shots through here with the UTG scope and see what happens. Another 3 rounds, 0 malfunctions. I can actually see on the target that I'm aiming at the center bullseye, and it's hitting about 6, maybe 7, 8 inches down and about 4 inches to the right. But the 3 shots ended up right on top of each other within probably a 3-inch group. So the gun seems to be fairly accurate, just a matter of sighting in the scope and getting it all squared up. So, but overall, I'm actually pretty happy with being able to see some targets on paper. Alright guys, so instead of making adjustments to this scope, which is already zeroed for my Vepr rifle, instead I just kind of figured out where I need to hold the sight picture in order to get it right where I want it. It's 3 notches down and 2 to the right. So what I'm going to do is I got 6 shots in here. I'm just going to kind of use that sight picture that I figured out to put it where I want it, so we can kind of determine what kind of groups we can get out of this gun. Obviously it's not the ideal situation, but it'll work for the purposes that we have today. And just by looking down the scope here, I can see that they're definitely landing all right on top of each other, which is awesome. So I'm pretty impressed here. Alright guys, we're going to do a string of 5 shots here, probably the remainder of the ammo as well, with open sights. Just kind of curious as to where to land and how it'll operate, so make sure you got the leaf sight in the right position here. It's always a problem. At this distance it's even hard to even see the target. I'm just going to put it in the place I kind of want it. Got a muzzle flash on this thing. Alright guys, I just wanted to show you real quick. This is looking through my spotting scope and I was having a hard time getting it focused here, but as you can see there, kind of right in the middle, I got a string of 5 shots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they look like they're almost going vertical up and down. That's my open sights at 100 yards and not even able to really see the target, but man, you can tell that it's pretty much on. You know, it's up and down there, and they're all right in line with each other. So, thought that was pretty interesting. Some pretty decent groups. Safety glasses, keep forgetting them. Oh, you gotta love that smell of gunpowder in the morning. Hey guys, never saw anything like this before. Just kind of packing things up and heard a bubbling noise. Kind of turned over my gun here. This is the lower handguard. As you can see there, it cracked even a little bit there. But looks like the actual stain or varnish on here is coming off, and that's super hot. I mean, that's very hot to the touch. Looks like the stuff is just bubbling right up. So that kind of shows how hot these barrels can get. I put a total of 50 rounds through this gun only today. 20-40, yeah, about 50 rounds. So it definitely shows you what these light barrels are capable of as far as getting hot. And I'm not sure I'm going to want to touch that barrel at all anytime soon, because I'm sure that thing is super hot as well. But that's very interesting. I've never seen anything like that before. If any of you have, definitely let me know. I'd be interested to hear if anyone else has ever had an issue like that. Alright guys, go get the target. Alright guys, so here's our target. We're aiming here initially, and we're ending up down in this area here. This is my first 3 shots. So what I ended up doing is kind of readjusting and aiming towards this bullseye or thereabouts, and getting this grouping here. Obviously the science isn't perfect when you don't have a crosshairs. You're just kind of beating it off the different notches. So not too bad of a group, considering the fact that the PSL really isn't known for accuracy, and the scope isn't really zeroed in, and I don't personally have that very good of a shot. So that's not a bad grouping at all. What I did then is kind of go back, and as you can see, there's a few random stray rounds around there. I don't really know where those came in from, but everything that you're seeing pretty much down in this area is open sights at 100 yards. And as you can see, I got a pretty good string here of bullseyes, a pretty good string there, a couple stackers. But overall, for open sights, that's pretty decent. Like I said, I put 50 rounds through the gun. It is extraordinarily hot at this point, so there's a lot to be said about a veteran having a heavy barrel compared to a PSL with its light barrel. As well as I showed you the bubbling on the handguard due to the extreme heat of the handguard bracket here, which is still very, very hot. So, but overall, I had 0 malfunctions with the rifle. The bolt hold open feature worked great, and overall, really impressed with the rifle. It's a fun shooter. So, if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I appreciate watching, and until next time, guys, take her easy.